Hi everyone, and welcome in the last video of this section, which is actually going to be your favorite one, because today I will show you how you can deploy completely free, out of charge, your application so everybody from around the world can access it. To do that, we're going to use a cloud provider which is called Deta Cloud. With this provider, you can deploy completely free Python and Node.js macros and access them from around the world. So you can see that here you can deploy a Fast API or Flask applications, and you can also deploy Node.js applications. So let's move forward, create an account and get started. So click here on Join Deta, and then you need to follow a very simple registration process where you need to provide a username, password and email. So sign up. Once you have your account, click sign in, provide your username and password, and then you will see something like this. So there are a few steps that you need to complete in order to create macros. As you can see, I already have a few macros right here. One of them is the code bug fixing app, but I will create another macro for you and you'll see how we can do it from the project. In order to install Deta on your machine, whether you're using Mac, Linux or Windows, you need to write different commands. So for Mac and Linux, as you can see, the command is the same. So you just need to copy that, go to your PyCharm project, select terminal and paste this in the terminal, which will install Deta. You can do that either from PyCharm or you can simply open a standard Mac terminal. It doesn't matter actually. So hit enter and then you can see that it is installed already in your device. Okay, and once you're done with that, then you can create a macro project. So let's do that. Now to do that, you cannot do it from your Mac terminal, right? You can do it here because you need to be in the specific folder where you run your current project, okay? It normally doesn't matter where you create the Deta macro, but I would like to keep all the files within the same folder. So right now we're in the code bug fixing and let's create the Deta project. So I will do Deta, new, Python, so it knows that you use Python, and then the name of your app. So I will call it code bug fixer. Okay, so this is the project. Let's create it. And your project is now created. This link here is the link from which you can access your project. So if you click this link, you see a tab that displays hello world, which means that now you have access to the application from the web, which is great. Now the next step is to actually deploy your app so you'll be able to see it from that link. Now there are a few things you need to do. Firstly, you can see that here we have the code bug fixer folder with data and the main.py file. So go to this file here and you can see that here we run the hello world. This is why you saw this in the page. So now go to your main file, which is out of this folder. Okay, copy everything and just paste it in the other main file, which is part of the data. Okay, so now we have two identical main files. Then copy also the templates.html folder. So I will do copy. Then I will go to the code bug fixer and I will paste that folder there as well. Okay, so now we have here templates as well, and also you have your main file. That way the Deta project will be an exact copy of your code bug fixing app project. Normally it is better if you first create your Deta project and then you start building your application, because that way you will not need to copy and paste anything. Now Deta is going to run everything inside this folder called code bug fixer inside the macro. So once you're ready with those files, the next step is to create a file called requirements.txt. So this file is needed because on your local device you already installed the OpenAI and Flask, which is part of your virtual environment. However, when you deploy applications, this virtual environment is not going to be there. This makes sense, right? So for that reason, you need to create a text file where you specify the libraries that you need to have installed when running the application. And this is some standard procedure for every Python application. So let's go to the code bug fixer, create a new text file and call it requirements.txt. Let's create it. And after that, simply write the names of the libraries. To be sure that my application is robust, I will just go here, copy the Flask name, okay, and then do the same with the OpenAI. Okay, let's save that. Okay, so let's close requirements.txt, let's close the main files, okay, pretty much everything. And now we're going to work in the terminal. So from the terminal, go to the code bug fixer folder, where is your application, and do deta deploy. Okay, so let's do that. And you'll see that now your application started to get deployed. Now all the dependencies get updated from the requirements txt file, and within a few seconds you have your application up and running on the cloud. So you will see those requirements here that get built, and those are called the different wheels and dependencies. So firstly you collected Flask, and then you also collected the OpenAI, and then you can see that all the rest of the libraries on which OpenAI and Flask are dependent have also been installed in your application in the cloud, which is great. Now if I go back and refresh my folder, you can see that if I click on macros, I have the code bug fixer macro. If you want to see what is going on and if your application is live, you can put this code as well. Okay, so I will put data visor enable, and then your application has been enabled. So if I refresh, you will be able to see up-to-date information from your application. So since we haven't made any requests yet, here there is no information yet, but you see that if I go to the link that is provided, our application is now accessible. And if you go back to the visor, and we got some error, hopefully it's not critical, but now your application, as I said, is built on the cloud. And if I simply test it, so let's do print one without closing, and let's do syntax error. Okay, let's run that and see if it works. So you can see that your application works. Right now we're not running it, as you can see, locally, but we're running it on the cloud. And this means that everyone, not only you, but everyone around the world with this link can access the application. Be careful, because if you are having free credits on the OpenAI, if many people access your application, your credits on the OpenAI will get affected. And you can see that when we made a request to the OpenAI, we got another information here that we did a post to the API and we've got a response. Now the next thing I want to show you is that now, since our application is already on the cloud, then it is quite easy to deploy that on your website. To do that, you can use F-frames. So if you have a WordPress website or any other type of website, it pretty much doesn't matter. You can simply go to pages and create a new page. And then simply, once you have the editor for the new page, for example, in WordPress, you can select the code. And so here's your application, and you can see how easy it is actually to add your code fixing app on your website. You just need to specify iframe, which is basically a website within a page, and then specify the link of your application, right? So I'll click here, update, and then if I preview the page, you can see that the code fixing application is now deployed and can be used from a local website called martinwhitech.com. If I even go from an incognito window and I write martinwhitech.com and I search for code fixing app, okay, you can see that the application is right here and I can access it for pretty much everywhere. I advise you also to check out this website. It's actually very nice and completely free. You can see different coding applications and also many different articles on how to build different things with Python. So that was everything from me, guys. I hope this section was useful for you. Thanks for watching, and in the next one I will show you how you can add payment to your application using Stripe.